Hello guys, and welcome to video number 4. I know it's been a while, this COVID thing has thrown everything up there, but one thing for sure is that I could not let this video go by. Very important, because I bought this car and within hours of buying this car I had a problem with the gearbox. When I purchased the car, I went for a test drive and I went through all the gears, but I didn't went hard enough, and the owner, very cheeky, he knew that the car had this problem, but he didn't tell me. And I didn't drive the car properly. I just went for a few laps around the block, and only after I hit the motorway that I realized that the car had a problem with the gearbox. So I tried to contact the owner and he just was not interested. But anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the gearbox. So the problem was on the 4th gear, and obviously when you drive around the block you can't really put the 4th gear in build up area. So only when you hit the motorway or when you hit the racetrack. And when you put the 4th gear, it's kind of grinding between the gears. Apparently it was the synchro that had a problem. I took to a racing team and he'd say, listen, you need a new gearbox. So I say, right, let's go and change it. So tip of the day, if you ever buy a racing car, test it and test hard and know who you buy it from, so you don't get caught up. But I thought it was really interesting. I went to the garage, the guys in there, they're really friendly, really nice guys. Matthew was the guy doing the job, and Shawn Fleming. Shawn Fleming, he's got a racing team in a garage. He races himself, he's passionate about racing. He's a really cool guy, a gentleman. And well, let's go see the job get done. And next time you buy a car, make sure you know who you're buying from and how good the car is. Right, let's dive into it. SF Racing or SF Repairs is Shawn's garage, and SF Racing is his racing team. That's my car coming into the jack. Or you might feel a difference in the audio, and that's because I decided to do a mute video in and do an audio over, because there was a lot of background noise going on and I would have to be shouting over the microphone so you could hear, and there'll be a lot of noise background. So I decided to record a mute and do a voice over. So here we go, the car is on the jack now, ready to do the first part of the job, which is to empty the gearbox oil tank. That's Matthew over there. He's the guy that works with Shawn Flames. He is a really nice chap. He's pretty much done most of the job there, taking good care of my car. It's the gearbox there in the front. Here the back, as you can see, is the differential. That's what it powers the rear wheel. Matthew now is halfway through the oil removal. That's interesting because Shawn took some of the oil out to inspect, and there was a lot of small particles of metal, small pieces, which he suggested the gearbox was in a really bad shape. Now that's the gearbox just being removed there. That's the part which connects to the clutch at the end of that. Where you see the cloth there is where the gear knob goes, and in the middle part of that is the gearbox. That's inside the gearbox. That's the 1st gear, that's the 2nd gear, that's the 3rd gear, 4th gear, then the 5th gear, and finally the reverse. The synchro is this part here. Disengage one gear and then engage the next gear. So between the 3rd and 4th, he was grinding. That piece there wasn't working properly. Basically you have to do the whole gearbox. Shawn had a spare gearbox, and they're ready for him because he run, I think, 2 or 3 racing cars in his team, and that's him. That's the spare gearbox he had there, so it was just a case of taking out and put it back in. Now he's just jacking up the brand new gearbox to put into place. It's a hell of a job because it's a heavy piece. It's in place now, and Matthew Just tighten up some nuts and bolts on that gearbox and put into place. After that, he's just gotta tidy the differential. So have a look here underneath the car. That's the gearbox there. The front is the oil tank, engine oil tank. The Shawn Flames there. Just check everything it's good in place and tied it up. Here is the rear wheel suspension. You can do a few setup adjustments in there. So here's just a quick overview of his garage. I love his garage. It's like proper old school garage. That's a Ginetta GTB replica. It's a really good replica. That's a Aston Martin Vantage.
TR7 there.
Oh, TR7.
Yeah.
Is that kit? That's a proper car, right?
Yeah.
It's not a kit car.
We're putting a Mazda MX-5 engine in it.
Okay. Oh. Well, same gearbox, but a different engine.
Well, yeah, it's Mazda gearbox and the Mazda engine. That's the version.
Yeah.
He just converted from an old standard one, put a Mazda gearbox and engine is much more reliable. From the bottom there, that's the oil tank from the engine. The gearbox attached to it. At the top there you can see the alternator and the oil filter. We did also change the oil in the car, which is in a terrible shape. The car wasn't being run for over a year. That's the differential all the way to the back there. On the right hand side is the exhaust pipe. You can see the pipes in there for the rear brakes. The car looks in really good shape underneath, you know, and that's what attracts me. It was brand new. The guy purchased brand new, and I think he raced one season or season and a half, and that was it. The car was parked for 1 year. He never raced again. And then the gearbox problem, it was just a shame, really. But anyway, it's a car, it's a racing car. You should expect that kind of problem. It's just a shame that he kept that for himself. But it's all good. Gearbox is pretty much changed now. Matthew's just gonna pump some oil into the gearbox now. It's just a bit of a job pumping up all that all the oil. That took a good 15-20 minutes to pump all the oil into the gearbox. It says low pump, so it took a little while. Once you start leaking, that means it's full. So, and that's a job done. You just tidy up the bolt and that's it. Job done. Now, time to finish the other bits in the car. The next job now is tidy up the gear knob inside the car, and then bleed the hydraulic clutch. That's Shawn Flame there. Tighten up some nuts and bolts on that gear knob. Love that inside of that car. It's just Ginetta, I think, nailing there. You feel like you're inside a racing car. The cockpit, the seat is just fantastic. The dials and everything, the dashboard. This car, he's got a hydraulic clutch. Now Matthew here has got that little machine which is connected to a compressor and is sucking air out of the hydraulic clutch system. It took a little longer than I expected, but you see that it's just sucking all the air out of the pipe, and also the oil comes all out. That's the hydraulic system bleeded, and you are good and ready to go. And that's it. Job done. Get new gearbox. Matthew's taken out. It's a rainy day in London. That day is a rainy day. So Matthew's taking out for a little drive test. Going through all the gears, make sure everything is fine.
Job done.
And that's it for video number 4. If you like it, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share with someone that loves or share the same passion. Leave me a comment to let me know what would like to see next. And I'll see you on the next time.